This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Evening, Jason Glick. How the hell are you?
I'm doing just good, John. Yourself?
Not too bad.
Excellent. So tonight, I'm talking about a series that I believe I mentioned a while back on the blog that I probably wouldn't be mentioning unless a specific writer was dealing with it. That series would be Crossed, which which basically was birthed into existence through by Garth Ennis and an artist on the first arc, Jason Burrows. Um, Crossed was a interesting take on the whole, civilization collapses due to some sort of evil plague, not really zombies, but basically the Crossed are basically people who have through some sort of weird weird quirk of nature have become have lost all empathy and ability to act as compassionate humans. Basically, it's like the glue that holds society together. Um, the Cross do not possess any of it, and they will just they're going to commit just like any kind of atrocity that you've read or imagined that humans are capable of. Now, like the first Ennis's first arc was one of the best things I read in the year it came out, mainly because while everything I just told you holds true, it also works on an interesting meta level in the sense that you've got these ordinary people who have survived the initial outbreak, and and then they're just dealing with how do you maintain like your humanity in a world where everything has just gone to complete hell. But it also worked at the meta level it works on is that by creating this this disease, this outbreak where that basically allows humanity to give into its worst impulses and engage in all sorts of crazy ass ultraviolence and depravity. You've basically got Ennis basically gave himself a license to indulge in all of his worst impulses in terms of violence, sex, and gore, and then he on one level, and then focus all of his character building skills on these other people as they react to it. So basically, you've got all these people trapped in a Garth Ennis comic, for lack of a better term, and I thought that worked really well because it allowed Ennis to basically just indulge himself and also deliver some of the stuff that he works best at. Problem is that after the first arc, Ennis basically gave the series up to the creative community to say, hey, if you want to crack at this, go ahead and knock yourselves out. And the results for that were not that impressive. David Lapham did the two subsequent arcs, and he had some interesting ideas, such as what happens when the person most capable of leading people into this new world is also a child molester, or what happens when you got a crazy ass serial killer working amongst the survivors. Neither even if they had some good ideas, neither of them ultimately lived up to potential, and they basically just delivered in an excuse to wallow in like the- like go, gore and just immaturity. Then you had the ongoing series Badlands, which Ennis did the first arc, and Jamie Delano came on for the second. And Delano, well, yeah, no, it was still kind of more of the same. Just there were some interesting ideas, but it was just more just pointless gore and stuff. And then when it was real Lapham would be coming back for another arc, I thought, okay, fuck this. I'm only going to read cross stories that feature Garth Ennis in it. Well, eventually, word reached my ear that there was another writer who was also delivering a good cross story as part of in webcomic form. That would be Simon Spurrier, who people with memories to the beginning of this year remember as that's the writer of X-Men Legacy, the arc that the version of the series that focused on Professor X's son Legion. Spurrier, he gives us in Wish You Were Here. He gives us a story of a group of people who aren't running from the cross. They've actually set up shop on an island off the coast of Scotland or England. I can't remember. That is basically for more or less safe from these crazies, like yeah, essentially some will try to make their way across like on a boat, but there's always enough. But they've all got someone on watch, and it's like they're able to pick off the stragglers, and also some of the more baroque attempts, like the cow with a hand grenade shoved up his ass, stuff like that. So you've got this like this group of people who are just like more or less surviving, no, not just surviving, but also just like making a making like so community and life for themselves that doesn't hinge on just like how are we gonna like get through today and all. And the focus of this story, because the story is told through his diary entries, is a guy by the name of Shakespeare, nicknamed Shakespeare, and Shaky to the rest of everyone. We never find out his real name, but we do find out a lot about him. So much about him, because while he started off the before the outbreak, when the outbreak hit, he was just he was a writer, just doing stuff like writing superhero comics. And then when the outbreak hit, he was just like completely unequipped to deal with this, and just spent the first few days just just bounding around through one horror to the next, and then eventually, it's like before eventually winding up with a group of survivors after he manages to kill a little girl who has been crossed with a shotgun thrown to him by a particularly nasty piece of work named the Gamekeeper. The Gamekeeper is a grade A bastard who but he's also the kind of guy who you want on your side when the entire world like is filled with crazy psychos who are trying to kill you, rape you, and then cut new holes in you so they can rape you some more. So that's so the story basically splits into two. It takes two parallel tracks. One follows Shaky as he like survives through the initial outbreak, and then the other follows him in the present day as he goes through his daily life on Kava. And this and the from the very beginning, one of the key things we learn about him is that his theory for surviving the this modern world is like there are plenty of mysteries in it, and all you have to then there's mysteries, and you have to ignore. So that's his thing, and he's kind of a fairly self-centered guy, but and that as we come to learn, in the sense that even if he's not necessarily an outright bastard, he's kind of self-centered in a very very casual way, in that his like a lot of his ongoing monologues are just like solely about his focus on on the world and how and his interpretation of everyone around him. I mean, there's a lot of fun to be had for his interpretations, seeing his interpretations of the cast, and also just seeing like the random craziness that pops up, such as the carrion birds that bring bits of Crossed to the island. The it's like the two leaders it has. Don, the pretentious intellectual who who it's all about self glorification, but still has some good ideas in how self centered his approach can be. And Rab, who is the hard man, it's like but also also not one for the niceties of leadership and all. And it's like that there's also and it's like there's a broadcast beyond there. Not a lot of red shirts in there, of course, but the but the 4 volumes of Crossed Wish You Were Here can basically be broken up into arcs. The first volume basically is the introduction arc that just that introduces you to Shaky, showcases his worldview, shows you how he got gives you an idea of how he got to Kava, and what it's like, and also his plan for just dealing with the mind-numbing boredom of being on the island. Volume 2 basically has Shaky and a select group of volunteers, well, not volunteers, unlucky lottery victims being forced to leave Kava and get supplies for everyone. In turn, this brings back some unwelcome heat to the island in the form of a very militant it's like survivor who has a heat sensor that he thinks makes him a total badass, and also working on the whole fight back. Mind you, in the world of Crossed, fight back is one word because anyone who thinks about mounting the fight back against the Crossed is a goddamn asshole and an idiot, and that's this guy. But that's not the only thing, because we also get to know more about the weird, strange nun with not a cross symbol on her face, but an X that the crossed scar has grown into, and how she is leading a group of crossed, and also following Shaky and his crew back to the island. In fact, and that's one of the focuses for Volume 3, because remember I mentioned like Shaky's theory of mysteries, 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 ignore, ignore, ignore. Well, with the nun following and her crew following Shaky back to the island, he's brought them a mystery they can't ignore. It's like, and so not only is his social standing falling in Volume 3, but then we also get the like some new people here, the Drift Fleet from America, who are basically they're trying to get enough supplies in order to in order to go along, but they also bring some interesting threats in the sense that like they represent a new, better life, better alternative to the sustenance living on Kava, and also a threat to Donna and Rab's leadership. And they turn to Shaky, saying like, "Hey, we know you're a real snake, and you're going to do whatever you takes, be amongst people who will take care of you. So we need you to help us out in maintaining this whole status quo we've got here." And Shaky does some really morally questionable stuff that not only for the benefit of them, but also for the benefit of the girl he's impregnated as well. But this also has some real dire consequences in the sense that the nun, she is also watching, and she has her own agenda with the Crossed that she's commanding. Volume 4 is basically when the shit hits the fan, and that everyone finds out that the island is not nearly the safe haven they realize, and that the Crossed were only toying with them. But at the same time, though, the nun has her own agenda. And this is probably Spurrier's most vital contribution to the series, in the sense that he creates a really unbelievable way for the Cross to act the way they do here. In the sense that here, this is a series about the Cross learning about the merits of delayed gratification, because as the outbreak began, they had so many humans to torture and defile and murder. And it's life was good, but then what do you do? What do a bunch of crazy psychopaths do when they don't have any humans to murder? They just walk around the country and they're being bored. And it's only then that the concept of delayed gratification is introduced to them by the nun, that they finally learn about how to properly stave off their impulses for the promise of better times down the road. I understand that this is also relevant to Alan Moore's Cross Plus 100 series. That first volume should be arriving sometime next week for me as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. But the core of the series is Shaky and his relationship with the nun, who has a really funny Irish name that basically sounds out as Ayan, and the relationship they have, because she's introduced to us as someone who is beyond good. I mean, she is just she's just a moral ramrod, but not say a rules lawyer, a D&D paladin type. She just knows the exact the best thing to do, the right thing to do, but also and also has enough restraint in order to make sure that it's others' needs are fulfilled above her own. And now her worldview is slowly broken through the time she spends with the gameskeeper and Shaky, and then Shaky by himself. But it's fascinating to see, in the sense that it doesn't, the time, even though it's it's like it eventually leads to something bad. I mean, it's basically spelled out in the very first volume when she shows up. But the time she spends with Shaky, it still feels pretty believable in the sense that these two people could fall in love and like get together. But then there's all sorts of bad horror movie cliche stuff that pops up as well. I mean, yeah, there are certain tropes that pop up in the series and stuff that doesn't work as as well as expected. Like finding out about the woman who offers like stones for sex, because that's the only way she can survive after being deafened and not knowing the language. I mean, it's really creepy, but it's also something that's not fleshed out as well as it could have been because it's basically only one story, right? Like in the first volume. It's like, and also it's like I mean, I guess I mean, Shaky is a fascinating protagonist in the sense that his girlfriend, the one he impregnates, she thinks that, oh, you're on one hand, I think you're an arsehole pretending to be a nice guy, but I'm also hoping you're a nice guy pretending to be an arsehole was pretending to be a nice guy, like a double bluff. And at the end, it's like Shaky, he's just telling a story. He's just like this is he. You get the feeling that like this is all kind of like one big meta take that Shaky as a writer he knows how his story is supposed to end, and he just wants to maximize the drama. It's like as a result, but it just doesn't work out for him in the way that he expects. In fact, his big dramatic speech, it's like in volume 4 to the nun Aen, is basically upended by one of the supercrossed who has basically learned even greater depths of delayed gratification. So that's so it's so one hand, so yeah it's Shaky's Shaky's journey, and he's a bastard. It's like, and he ultimately doesn't care enough about other people in order to it's like to really save anyone in the end. In fact, the Rab, the leader, like one of the leaders, basically says, "Yeah, yeah, Shaky, you know what? People just seem to die around you too much before breaking his feet." So it's there's like a welcome sense of self awareness there, and 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 ultimately, like, even though there was like a huge amount of gore in this series, it's not ultimately about the crazy ass shit. It's about Shaky, his personal journey. It's like the depths to which love will persevere even when someone is completely changed beyond recognition. I mean, it's like there is some very creative stuff with the gore done here, and since like I don't think I've ever seen a baby used for skeet shooting before, but wow, that was something. And it's like, oh, and the series also kicks off with a guy like, fucking a dolphin in its blowhole on a beach. So yeah, this is crossed. There's gonna be like lots of really over the top gory shit here. So there's like that barrier to entry. But if you can get past that, you'll find that it's also a series that's definitely a lot more thoughtful than most of the other stuff that has come out from this franchise, and that Spurrier, like, ultimately he's a guy who gets the concept of crossed in a way that I've only seen Ennis really do justice to. It's probably telling that after Alan Moore did his initial arc on Crossed plus 100, Spurrier took over for him with issue 7. So really, I really enjoyed Crossed. Wish you were here. Wish you were here. And while like if you well, if you liked, and so basically if you liked Ennis's first volume, which is basically the litmus test I give you for get determining whether or not the series is for you. Like if you like that, definitely pick up the 4 volumes for Wish You Were Here. It's probably the best I've read for this series outside of the initial arc. Okay, John, any thoughts on your end about all this?
Well, it sounds interesting. I haven't read it, but the way you describe it makes it sound interesting. Um, you know, they're not zombies, but
No, it's like
it is
they're a
definitely a
lot worse.
dystopian world view, a dystopian world future. So,
Yeah, it's like it's pretty messed up, and like I said, a lot of creators just see this as kind of like an excuse to just be as gory and over the top as possible. But Ennis and Spurrier just have been smart enough to use it as a way to dig a little bit deeper.
yeah. It's like I said, it sounds interesting, and that's volumes 1 through 4. Does that makes this whole thing out, or how's
Yeah,
that?
Wish You Were Here is its own series because it was originally published as webcomics, and it's 4 volumes total.
Okay. All right. Cool. Do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Something a lot more family friendly. I'm going on about like Elf Quest.
Okay, ElfQuest. Well, we'll catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
All right, laters.